very nice, but take 1.5 hours. You will be left with 1.5 hours for next 2 essays, right? So automatically last essay quality goes down, right? So even out of 50 here, even if you get 35, say for example, now quality is decreasing, here probably 20 or 25 and here probably 15. So doesn't matter if your first essay is the best essay you are writing. All three needs to have the same quality. That is one thing you should always remember. Now if you don't complete your paper on time, or if you don't manage your time, then God forbid you have to again give the exam, you will be clueless that strategy was wrong or probably my quality was not good. You won't be able to make out. If you're doing it in time management, then you for sure know that okay, this might have been the mistake. So time management is very, very important when it comes to essay writing. Now when you're practicing your essays, obviously you will first start with writing one full length essay. Once you have written 3-4 full length essays, start going for timed or your time bound writing, where you are taking 3 hours and writing 3 essays at a stretch, at least 2 times before giving the exam. And now is the best time, notification is still not out, right? Still you have ample amount of time. Probably in next 2 weeks you brainstorm, do essays. Anyhow, we have been given many classes for essays here. So half of the job will be done in the classes itself. We have till 4th July to discuss so many essays. So, even if you make it a point that in the next few days you write 1 essay every day, half of your job is done. After the classes are over, write full length tests also. Without giving a full length test, please don't go to the exam. Now, if you compare it with UPSC, if any one of you has been giving UPSC, they ask 2 essays in 3 hours, right? Which is relatively easier in the sense that you have 2 topics which you have to cover. Here 3 topics means every hour your mindset has to change, because now it is the next topic, which is very difficult to change. And now here, even if it is 1 hour each for each essay, 5 minutes you will do some brainstorming also. So practically you have 50 to, even if you take 5 minutes more, 50 to 55 minutes to write 800 words or 5 to 6 pages. This needs writing speed. And when you are writing in a hurry, spellings should be correct, grammar should be correct. So practice is something which is inevitable. You cannot escape that, no, I'll write, I've understood how to write an essay, I'll write later on, I'll write near the exam when the notification will come. This is the best time. Because see, lot of GS subject you will read for prelim also, right? It will be having overlap in mains also, but essay is something which is specifically there in your mains exam. So please take care of time management and do a proper practice when it comes to your essay writing. Even your answers also you have to do practice. But here the thing is not just about content structure, time limit also. 3 essays, 3 introductions, 3 topics, 3 conclusions. 3 times you have to change your mindset when you start with another essay. Right? Okay, today we'll focus more about socio-political essays. Electoral reform, we'll complete that topic Now in socio-political issues, for your understanding point of view, so that even if you have to practice it, you can divide socio-political issues into topics which are related to federalism. Right? or center-state relations. So various topics based on federalism, center-state relations can be there, right? Then second, your essays can be about your electoral politics, like we yesterday started with electoral reforms. So anything related to elections might be about fairness of your election commission, might be about RPA, might be about electoral reforms, right? So electoral politics related topics, you have to keep in mind that these will be useful for your essay writing. Then with respect to judiciary also. So here whatever you are doing in polity, governance, that knowledge becomes important in this socio-political issues. Then the questions about social justice, like reservation related, women reservation, it has already come. Women reservation issue in the essay, it has been already been there. So justice, social justice and representation. So anything about EWS, SCs, STs, that can be a topic here, right? Then various institutions and democracy per se. On that also topics can be there with respect to essays. Then any contemporary issue. Current affair part we will keep on covering side by side only. Whatever issue we are doing, we'll see a current affair thing also. So any current affairs or any contemporary. Say for example, your one nation, one election. That's a contemporary issue. So there might be a possibility that they might ask about simultaneous elections, right? So contemporary issues we will cover here. So these will be your socio-political issues, which few of the essays we'll discuss today and few tomorrow also, and likewise we'll move topic by topic and discuss various probable topics which can be there, and side by side we will also see previous year questions so that you have an idea how they are framing the questions, because see in APPSC it's not just one word topics. Essay topics are also in the form of questions. Now how to attempt it, how to fit into the structure which we have learned in the last class, that also we'll try to understand, right? So let's now go back to the topic we were discussing yesterday. Do you agree that electoral reforms are the key to cleansing Indian politics? Now yesterday I dictated one start introduction where we started with the quote and gave a context to the topic. Now another form of starting of this particular essay can be through a small short story. Just write this down so that you can appreciate it better what I am talking about. Write down. A young voter stands patiently. A young voter stands patiently in a long queue. A young voter stands patiently in a long queue. A young voter stands patiently in a long queue under the scorching sun. Under the scorching sun, SCORCHING, scorching sun, comma, waiting for his turn to cast his first vote. Waiting for his turn to cast his first vote. Full stop. He carries with him the hope. He carries with him the hope that a single vote can shape the future of the nation. That a single vote can shape the future of the nation. Full stop. Then change the paragraph and write. But what if the choices before him choices before him means that whatever button he will be pushing with respect to in the EVM. But what if the choices before him have already been distorted? Question mark. But what if the choices before him have already been distorted? Question mark. What if the candidate selected What if the candidates that are selected are selected not on the basis of integrity and competence? What if the candidates are selected not on the basis of integrity and competence, 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 but through money, power, comma, criminal influence, money, power, comma, criminal influence, or dynastic privilege, Put a question mark after this. Then write down, in such circumstances, the freedom to vote remains. But the quality of democratic choice is severely compromised. In such circumstances, the freedom to vote remains, but the quality of democratic choice is severely compromised. Full stop. This illustrates a profound truth. You can change paragraph. This illustrates a profound truth. Put a hyphen. Democracy is not weakened merely on the polling day. Comma, it is weakened much earlier. When the electoral process itself is compromised. When the electoral process is itself compromised. Full stop. So electoral reforms become indispensable. So electoral reforms become indispensable. Indispensable, it means, which has to be there. Indispensable for restoring fairness in democratic process. For restoring fairness in democratic process. Full stop. Now this, if you see, we started with the character and we hardly had 2 lines about that person, but that becomes the point of focus here. We try to create a picture in the mind of the examiner that okay, there is a young person, he is standing in a line, he is standing in the sun and he is voting. With the hope that when I am casting my vote, I can change the future of the nation. Now you pose questions that what if it is already compromised? What if the candidate who are presented to him, they are criminals, they have used money? So the vote will lose its power. Elections will lose its power in a democratic process. And then you connect it with the topic. So when you are talking about start of the essay, one thing you have to remember is that whether you are writing a quote and then you are writing some context about it, or you are writing a short anecdote, it needs to be connected with the topic at the end. But here you don't have to give away every point. We didn't discuss everything about the topic, just 2, 3 words here and there. We don't have to give away everything in introduction. If we start writing everything in introduction, what we will write in the body of the essay? If you start explaining by electoral process, we just give a context. But there is a person, he thinks this can change the nation, but what if it is compromise? What if it is money power? What if it is criminalization? We didn't expand it, or neither we talked about it in detail. So here, whatever you are discussing, you are writing a quote and then a context, or only context, you do not have a quote. Quote should also be accompanied by a context. Only starting with quote is also not enough. When you are writing introduction, at least half page, right? Or a little bit more than half page also you can write. And then after you are done with this, you have to connect it to the topic. Last line, if you see in both the anecdotes, it talks about electoral reforms, and that is the keyword of the topic. We are slowly moving towards it. Our aim here is that instead of me defining that okay, I'll define electoral process, I started slowly through these things. I'm not jumping to the point in the first line that electoral processes, electoral reforms are this and that. I'm giving a little bit of context, and once I've given a context, then I will relate or connect it with the topic. When I started the story, it was about a young boy casting his vote, but I connected it with electoral reforms. Because his thought process while pushing that button on EVM is that this will change the future of his nation. But what if it is rigged? So that is why my story is emphasizing on the fact that electoral reforms are important. Right? Are we getting this point how to start essay? Yes, anyone? Any doubt is there? Anyone from the online class? When was the class started? 2 p.m. Right? Yes, are we clear here? Okay. Now, next you tell me, when we start with body of the essay, did you go back home and try this essay? Yes? Yes or no? Yes or no? How many have not tried? Yes, how many of you have not tried this essay? Okay. So this is your first class? Did you attend the last class? So why didn't you write it? Okay, anyhow, in the body of the essay, around which aspects you can discuss this essay? Anyone? How do we start this? How do we brainstorm it? I'm not asking you the content. I'm just asking you the basic aspects which we can discuss here, dimensions which we can discuss here. Yes, anyone? What can be the first aspect of discussion? What did we do yesterday? Historical background. So here you can talk about the historical background of electoral reforms. That India recognizes that electoral reforms are important. Now, which is the book you are referring for polity, for constitution? Lakshmikant? Right? So in Lakshmikant, there is a separate chapter on electoral reforms. So you don't have to cover all the content, but just see. They have divided time wise that okay, after independence in the 1990s, then in the 2000s, and very recently what has been the changes. Right? So starting from the EVMs up to the electoral bonds, everything is given in the chapter. So content will come from your GS only. If you're thorough with your GS here, it won't be a problem. Okay. Now historical background is done. Next, what can you discuss here? Yes, anyone? What can you discuss? Significance of what? Yes. Read the question. Yes, you will be telling me. See, if I'll tell you everything essay, you won't learn how to write. Do you agree that electoral reforms are key to cleansing Indian politics? So, what is the one aspect which we will be discussing? Problems? Indian politics. Okay, it's not just about politics, it's about electoral process. So, need for electoral process. So, here you will talk about the need for electoral process. Why there is a need? Right? Now, after electoral process, in fact, very briefly, you can also talk about the importance of free and fair elections. That why free and fair elections are important. Just one small paragraph you can write, and then you can write that why there is need. What is the problem in the electoral process? What is the problem? Yes. Why do we need electoral reforms? Yes, anyone? Why do we need electoral? Sorry? Defections, okay. One. Why do we need it? Okay, that is fine. What is the problem in the process? Sorry?
Quality of democracy participation.
Give me specific points that when you think about voting process, what is the problem? Money and power. Money and muscle problem. Criminalization of politics. So the need, when you're discussing the need for electoral reforms, you can talk about criminalization of politics, use of money power, right? Use of muscle also. Although use of muscle is a part of criminalization only. Yes, identity politics based on caste, based on religion, hate speeches during the process, and there is no way to curb it. Right? What else are the problems? Why do we need it? Dynastic, okay, you can say to make electoral process more participative, more inclusive in nature. All people are participating, not just one. What else? Even to strengthen voter participation too. When we talk about changes such as postal ballots, right? Migrant workers, they don't need to go back, they can vote it from here. So to increase voter participation also, we need electoral reforms. We will now come back to this part, how to elaborate this. We'll first do the brainstorming. What will be the next part you will write down? Yes. Sorry?
Committees or any judicial interventions.
Little louder, Anna.
Committees or any judicial interventions regarding.
Okay, any measures which have already been done. You can write down, you can continue from here, that Indian democratic process has, or electoral process has recognized that these are the problems, and certain committees, etc., certain reforms have been there. Although you have discussed it in historical background already, so you don't need to discuss it again here, but a little context you can give. What else you can write in this? Global examples, yes, we'll write down when we'll do way forward.
How electoral reforms transform Indian politics?
How
Examples.
how it can, or how did it?
How already implemented electoral reforms have been.
That one we have discussed in historical only. Here the historical part is how we have done the initiatives already. Impact. Okay. What else? Sorry?
Can we jump to antithesis?
Yes, antithesis.
Not needed. Yes, still not needed.
No, not needed. You can write down how just electoral reforms are not enough. Lot of other changes are also needed. So you can write down why electoral reforms are not enough. Right? So why are they not enough? Because democracy is a whole system. If you have corruption in the administration, only voting for a fair voting system will not make the democracy strong. So governance reforms are needed. Judiciary reforms are also needed. Right? Political culture needs to be changed. Within party, you have lot of corruption. People don't get tickets. Okay, awareness of people has to be there. Or you can say active citizenship has to be there. Till the time we are asking question, the system, even if gives you electoral reforms, it will not bring much reform. So active citizenship is also required. So here we are trying to do, like I told you, see thesis part, it's not always necessary that all the parts, type, causes, significance, impact will come. Those are thinking tools. Now once in detail you have discussed why do we need it, right? Because it is talking about that how it is the key to cleansing the Indian politics. So we are here discussing this only. That this is the problem with the Indian political system, Indian electoral system, and this is required. That is why electoral reforms are required. And then one other part we discussed, why alone electoral reforms will not be enough. We need electoral reforms, but they will not be enough. And then last part will be way forward. What to do, right? So, are you carrying your phones? Do you have Telegram? So just open this Telegram. I have made this group. And there is a brainstorming sheet for this particular essay. Open it, then we'll discuss. Online student, do you have access to Telegram? Okay, one person, one value elections have to be substantive. If you don't have Telegram, please, because I don't have the picture with me. Yes, everyone of you, have you opened that brainstorming sheet? Yes or no? Yes or no? You have Telegram, everyone? If your friend sitting next to you is having, please. So now if you see here, first point is you are introducing the topic. Anecdote, context we have already discussed, right? And then we will talk about electoral reforms, how they are the key. Next part we will discuss why elections matter, right? Now why elections matter is, here we will tell that how it determines who gets the power, who shapes the law. Good election means good democracy, bad elections means bad policy. You don't have Telegram? This is only one phone here. You can share it, probably one person can sit with that person. Yes, any one of you who isn't having the Telegram, even if your person sitting next to you, everybody can see the page? Yes or no at the back? Okay. Tomorrow I'll ask them to display here. ID of the page is this only. It's on Telegram. Name is this only. I'll just write it in capital. ACE, APPSC. I'll share the full length essay for this also once the class is done. Is it visible on the board? You can just search it on Telegram. Okay, you are online student, but you might be having Telegram with you. Open Telegram, type this on Telegram, you'll get the page, and in that channel you will have the picture of the essay. Right? Now the next point, once you discuss why elections are important, next what we will be discussing is why electoral reforms are the key. Right? Now this is the brainstorming part. This is not how you write the essay. This is how you think before you write the essay. And this much elaboration is also not needed when brainstorming, because you have just 5 minutes. You cannot write a whole full page. Just few headings, so that you can have a proper structure, a flow, that first I'll discuss this, second I'll discuss this, third I will discuss this, fourth will be this. So now why electoral reforms are the key. If you see there, curb criminalization, reduce money power, and beneath that there are subtopics too. Ensuring free and fair elections, increases accountability, promotes inclusive representation, strengthen voter participation. Right? So now this will be one aspect of the essay. Now next aspect in red, opposite to it, why electoral reforms are not enough. Here you will discuss that even if electoral reforms are there and there is corruption in the administration, democracy wise, still we are lagging behind, right? Or judicial reforms are not there, political culture is not there, which still asks for vote based on your identity, or ethical leadership is required, where it understands that your transparency and accountability is important. Till the time our leaders understand it, till the time we have people of ethics ruling us, just doing reforms won't be enough. Right? Now, last part is way forward. What can be the way forward? One, I don't know if you have heard about it, state funding of election is one of the way forward which is talked about, that because so much money is used in elections, probably state should give certain funds to every political party, national political parties, when elections are going on, that this is the money we are giving and this is the allowed limit of money to be spent. Because see, when we are talking about money, it is not just limited that okay, they are spending money on getting elected. Where is this money coming from? Where is this money coming from? Businessmen, right? Now, so your businessmen, they contribute the money for elections, right? And now when they have given money, and ultimately when those people get elected, they will work from this person, which is also known as crony capitalism. Because this person wants a payback time. That I paid you this much crores, I paid you 10 crores for your elections, now give me your projects which are at least 50 crores worth of it. Because nobody gives charity, right? They are giving money to the politicians because they want something in return, that give us projects, give us tenders, give us contracts. So this leads to crony capitalism. So one of the way to prevent misuse of money or businessmen giving money is that state funding of elections can be there. This you will, I think, do it in your polity part also. So basically from your public exchequer, money is coming, so that there can be a curb. If, say for example, to every political party, state funding is 2 crores. Now if a politician is flying through a helicopter to different constituencies, it can be tracked that it is expensive to hire a helicopter. We have given just 2 crores rupees, you are printing so many pamphlets, you are hiring so many people. So it means you are getting money from somewhere. So it is easily to hold them accountable. So one of the way forward can be here is that you can do state funding of elections. What can be the other steps? Strong and independent election commission has to be there, which we saw this time, especially with West Bengal elections. There were a lot of discrepancies, right? Especially with respect to SIR and with respect to when complaints were being filed, not much action was needed. So for the first time, there was a big question mark on election commission. So you don't need to talk about these things, but you can talk that, okay, we need a stronger and more independent election commission. It should not become a political appointment. They should be independent, right? So like this, your disclosure of donations, encouraging internal democracy in political parties, time-bound disposal of criminal cases. So we should not be waiting till the person gets convicted, because nowadays the case goes on for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, that person is still a sitting MP or MLA. Because judiciary, that is why we said how electoral reforms are not enough. If a judiciary is slow, that is not convicting the person, he will continue to be a sitting MP or MLA. Rule is only you lose your seat when you are convicted, not when you are booked. Right? This was the famous case Lily Thomas versus Union of India, which tried to, remove this particular thing. But again, so in the way forward, you will tell that, okay, what next? What can be done? Right? What needs to be the steps in this particular thing? And then citizen awareness needs to be increased. Today you will find out, in fact, when voting days come, maximum voting happens in rural areas. Urban areas, people consider it as an off day, when it should be the opposite. Everyone should be going and voting out. So now before you write the essay, you brainstorm in this manner. Right? When you brainstorm it, now writing becomes easier. Now for this very essay, after the class, I'll share a full length essay with proper connecting words. With each paragraph, I have underlined it, right? Made it in a bold form, so that you understand that this is how you change the paragraph, this is how you connect different paragraphs. Also, that can serve as a way to understand which words to underline. So the essay is around 1200 words, right? So just tweaks here and there, you can decrease it to 800. So that is more than sufficient when you're writing about a topic. What I mean is, I've given a start to the essay also, and at the end I've given an anecdote also. So your choice, you want to start as given from the the essay, or at the end I've given the anecdote, you can start with the anecdote also. So today your work is, we have discussed it in class, we have understood about the brainstorming. Now it is your job to go back home, read the essay, right? Read the brainstorming sheet and then write your essay. It's absolutely okay in the start to collect content and then start writing the essay. We will first focus on the structure part. Content will anyhow come. Content means memorization, right? You just have to memorize things. That's it. So first we will learn how to write. When we understand how to write, then we will focus on content, memorization. You memorize things. Whatever broader classifications I have told you with respect to that, collect certain content. Once content is done, third step is time management. But time management will be the third step, because first you should know how to write, what to write, and then you will manage time. When you don't have content, you don't know the structure, then time management is wastage. If you write in a wrong structure, or content is not enough, right? So here you have to make sure that you do the first two steps. Structure wise, go back today, revise the class again if you have not understood. Go through the brainstorming sheet. Read the essay. Collect more content if you want to. If you have some better content, you can. And then close all the notes, wait for 1 hour, 2 hour, write the essay again. Right? So you have to put in some effort. Sitting in class and listening will not work for essay. I'm very frank about it. We are just discussing and covering our bases when it comes to different topics. It depends 95% on your writing skills. You have to do it. I can just explain you, this is how you write, these are the brainstorming points. The rest is your job. Right? Okay. So now we are done with this electoral reform topic. Now let's attempt one previous year question and see, we'll also discuss how APPSC is asking essay topics in question form and how to attempt these question form.
Now is it okay to add any recent controversy in the essay? Example, road story, allegations about
Avoid political statements. General, you can write down that there were allegations that EC is not being fair, that you can write without naming and shaming anybody, right? Without taking sides basically.
not even mentioning that road story.
Vote chori, everyone knows that where does that slogan comes from. So in a more neutral manner you can write it, but never name politicians, never name a party name. General, you can say there were allegations about that voting is not proper, so you can use that. Okay, so we'll discuss one previous year question. Just 1 second. Yes, write down. This is 2017 Group 1 essay paper question. Constitution of India provides protection to life and liberty. Constitution of India provides protection to life and liberty of a citizen. Full stop. At the same time, growing events of terrorism, Constitution of India provides protection to life and liberty of a citizen. Full stop. At the same time, growing events of terrorism. At the same time, growing events of terrorism, comma, Naxalism, and mob violence, underscore the need for stringent control, underscore the need for stringent laws for control, my bad, underscore the need for stringent laws for control, full stop. Discuss the measures to be taken for striking a balance between both. Discuss the measures to be taken for striking a balance between both. This is Group 1 2017 essay question. Take 5 minutes, read this essay topic, do your brainstorming, right? Okay, take 10 minutes also. But everyone should be writing in their copies how do they understand this topic and which flow they will be moving. Then I will discuss about after 10 minutes. So start brainstorming about this topic. No usage of mobiles or talking to each other. See, treat it as an opportunity to understand how to think about an essay. In essay paper, questions will be random. If here only you are taking help from phone, etc., then what will you do in the exam? Yes, can we discuss? Yes or no? Okay. So let's just first see the question. So the question says that the Constitution of India provides protection to life and liberty. So one thing is clear with this one line in the essay topic is that we will have to talk a little bit about Article 21, right? So in the start, when we are just discussing about the essay after the anecdote or introduction, we can explain about what is this, your rights with respect to protection of life and liberty. Now the next line says that, because like I said, that when we are talking about the questions which are coming in exam, they are not just one line. They're giving statements and putting it like a question. Next statement is, at the same time, growing events of terrorism, Naxalism, and mob violence underscore the need for stringent laws to control. And lastly, they are saying, discuss the measures to strike a balance, I think, to be taken striking balance between the two. Now, one good thing about these questions, essay topics, is They've already given you dimensions. You don't have to think about it. It's not an open-ended thing that okay, electoral reforms or federalism. They've already given you points which you can expand. Right? Before we move on to how to discuss this, so they have talked about life and liberty and its protection. So it means my one dimension will be where I will discuss about Article 21. What is this life to liberty? What all freedoms do I get under this? What is protected? Right? Then next is saying at the same time. So it is presenting a conflicting statement that you have liberty to life, liberty to to all these rights are, so there's so many rights which are given under Article 21, even right to privacy, lot of things are there. Right? Now, even if we talk just about right to privacy only, because Article 21 has been such a right that it has expanded over the years. Judiciary, with through its cases, it has expanded its ambit. So one of the recent is when this Puttaswamy versus Union of India case was there. They had given that under Article 21, even your right to privacy is also there. Now, we know all these things. Next question arises is that there are events of terrorism, Naxalism also, right, mob violence also, which needs stringent laws. Where on one side we are talking about privacy, but we might also need certain surveillance, right? We need proper CCTV cameras, which will create a clash also. At one side, Constitution is giving me this particular, right. And then on the other side, we see that there are events of terrorism, Naxalism, and mob violence. Now, again, they have given you another dimension to discuss. Where first you will talk about Article 21, and then you will talk about that what can be the dimension here by reading the second line. Yes, anyone? Why do we need stringent laws? For curbing terrorism, Naxalism, mob violence. Segregate them. Don't write all the points in one heading. Separate for terrorism, separate for Naxalism, separate for mob violence. Essay is to be written in an elaborate form. Don't be in a hurry. You have 800 words. If you write everything in one page, next what will you write? Right? So, advantage of such essay topics is they have already given you the points on which you have to talk about. Right? Underscores the need for stringent laws. So, this need part will become your another dimension. This is how you will go through your APPSC topic. Barring few topics, mostly we have seen it is coming in this question form only. Dimensions they're already giving to you. Right? And what we will be discussing is that okay, we will be discussing about one topic as a whole. What they are doing is they're mixing two topics together and then asking you a question. In fact, this is more easier to write. And then comes the third part where they are saying measures to strike a balance. That I need life, right to life, right and liberty also, but at the same time I need to control these things also. Terrorism, Naxalism and mob violence. So first is you read the question properly. Now it's not that you have to only answer this. If you only answer this, it's not an essay, it's an answer. It's a GS answer. When you are going to write essay for something, essay for E, just one thing you should remember, essay E stand for elaboration. You have to elaborate it in and out. Discuss every associated dimension, whatever is given in the topic. They will not always directly ask you, but essay 800 words comes with elaboration only. Discuss each and every dimension, what is related to the topic, and this topic I have not made it. This is there in the exam. So if you expect very simple topics will come, that will never be the case. that it's a state exam, very simple. No. They are combining two concepts. They are expecting analysis from you. But how do you strike a balance? They didn't just ask about terrorism or Naxalism or mob violence. They are asking it with the aspect, with respect to life and liberty also. And then they are asking you how to strike a balance. That we don't want that in the name of privacy, no surveillance, no data is collected, because these events will increase otherwise. And also we do not want to become a country where there are draconian laws, where you're curbing all type of rights and freedoms in the name of that, okay, we want to stop terrorism. We don't want anything. We want a balance. So this can become a part of your introduction too, where you explain that on one side there are rights, right? If there are only rights and there are no restrictions, then it becomes an issue. But if it is very stringent, draconian laws, and liberty is not there, freedom is not there, that is also a problem. So that can become your starting of your essay only. I'll dictate you also. Or probably you can write about an anecdote, pick up any terrorist attack, say talk about 26/11 and talk, related with that, okay, 26/11 happened, or Naxalism has been there in country since very long, mob violence events are increasing, which makes us to question that how do we balance our freedom, our liberty as a citizen, but at the same time protect the unity and integrity of the nation too. Now here, this is the start. You're not giving away everything. You've just given a context about the entire situation, right? Just write down the starting point. How can you? Write down. Imagine a citizen stepping out of home. Imagine a citizen stepping out of home with complete freedom of. Imagine a citizen stepping out of home with complete freedom of movement, comma, yet living under the constant fear of terrorist attack, comma, an armed insurgency or a violent mob. Full stop. Equally imagine another citizen living in absolute security, but stripped of privacy and dignity, by an all-powerful state, and draconian laws. Full stop. Neither society represents constitutional vision of India. neither society represents constitutional vision of India. Full stop. The challenge before modern India is to preserve one without sacrificing the other. Is to preserve one without sacrificing the other. Right? So this can be your start of the essay, or you can generally start that, Constitution of India. It has given a very important your fundamental right, that is Article 21, which gives life, freedom to life and liberty, right? And this is essential for a citizen to live his life with proper worth and dignity, right? At the same time, society is inflicted with certain terrorist attacks, Naxalism, mob violence also, which brings us to the question how to balance out these two without sacrificing one. So that in this form also, if you don't want to write that, imagine this, imagine that. General context. Start of your essay will be just general. Do not give away everything here. Do not start discussing about what is Article 21 or what are the points of Article 21. You have to give just a general context before starting. Right? Think yourself as a person who wants to take a favor from your friend. You don't quickly ask for the favor. First you will talk about here and there, how are you, how are your parents, this and that, and then you will come on point. Right? So you prepare a platform. Introduction or start of essay is that platform. Once that is done, then it's your, the entire sheet is your playground. Now write anything, right? Obviously in a flow. But don't give away everything in the start only. Don't start discussing Article 21 in the first paragraph itself. Wait for it. Set up a platform. Give certain context, which might be a story, not necessarily a story, general context. But should not involve any kind of definition. Right? Yes, are we clear here? Now when you will write, then you will understand in a better way. Right? When is the notification coming? September? August 15. Okay. Right. So it's not that far too. And I will be taking classes till your 11th or 12th July, essay and ethics. So be sure you're regular with your answer writing. Right? So, and also by the time notification come, I might not be in Hyderabad because I have to join my service. So anything you want to correct, please get it before that. Right? Yes, are we clear here? Okay, now how do we proceed with this essay next? What should be right now? Introduction is done.
In the introduction, can we talk about the importance of life and liberty to how we came to in the constitution that we...
But if you discuss this, then second paragraph, what will you write? If you can give a general context about Article 21, and because that you can write in historical background. We have to be very clear that when I am writing essay, I need 6 pages of content. So if I'll give away everything in the start, then my next dimension will get compromised. I will not have much content to write there. So always see that it is, whatever content you are writing, it is not repeated again. Because you're anyhow talk about historical background, that how there were laws which curbed, it was a surveillance state. So it's better you write in the historical background probably, right? Okay. And if in the essay somehow you cannot think about historical background, it's absolutely fine. It's not that you remain stuck on that page only, I don't know historical background. You write about something else. And practice before exam is this only, that you attempt as many as topics as possible and also get it checked too. Like I told you, like after some, most probably by first week of August I won't be here. And it will become very difficult for me to check through online. I'll get busy. So before that, please, anything is there, get it checked. At least one essay, one answer, get it checked for me. Right? Okay. So next, after introduction is done, you can give a historical background maybe. Right? You can talk about how during British era until now, how this this article has evolved. Right? Now, just to give you an idea about brainstorming, let's see like how can we proceed. So first you can write about this protection to life and liberty, that is article 21. You can discuss other related articles too, but not necessary. So your first job here is to discuss about what is article 21. Here you can even give Supreme Court judgments, relevant Supreme Court judgments, which you will be doing in your polity too. So it should not be a big issue, right? So this part about constitution, protection of life and liberty, after introduction, after historical background, you will discuss it in one paragraph or two paragraph or half a page, depending upon what content you have, but I think half page would be easy to fill with this context. Then next, we will talk about need for stringent law, because if we see this part, next part it talks about at the same time growing events of terrorism, Naxalism, etc. underscore the need for stringent laws. So our next dimension is automatically ready in the question itself. So here we will be writing about, and mind you, in a segregated form, that what is the need for stringent laws. Why do I need stringent laws for terrorism? Why do I need it for Naxalism? Why do I need it for mob violence? And side by side writing that what are these stringent laws and why do I need it? So here, why do I need it? Because terrorism is a threat to sovereignty, integrity, public safety. Give examples. You can talk about Bombay blast, you can talk about 26/11 attack, that so many people get killed because of these terrorist attacks. It attacks the sovereignty of the nation, unity of the nation, destroys the social order of the nation, right? And then it operates through networks, sleeper cells, international links, which requires you to have constant data or surveillance needs to be there, which might at some level might compromise with this right, article 21 right? Then you say the need for stringent laws to prevent these acts, gather intelligence, then disrupt terror networks and financing, to enable surveillance, right? To ensure swift investigation and prosecution. Is it clear at the back? Yes or no? Is it clear? Are you able to see this page, or should I share it on the Telegram? I'll share it. So first you will talk about this particular, concept of article 21, and then you will start discussing that with respect to terrorism, with respect to Naxalism, with respect to mob violence, why there is a need for a stringent law. I have shared that picture in case it's not visible, you can check through picture, right? So Naxalism also you write that okay, it's an armed challenge to authority of the state. It destroys infrastructure, so many ambushes, bomb blast, right? They have happened under this Naxalism. In our red corridors, include data that this many deaths have happened. So today your job is go back and collect some data on terrorism, on Naxalism and mob violence. Because there is a possibility a separate essay can come on terrorism, a separate essay can come on Naxalism also. So doing previous year questions is not just to understand what the examiner wants from you, but also a part of your essay, topic can become a full-fledged essay next year. They can just ask you about just terrorism. So collect content with respect to terrorism, collect content with respect to Naxalism, with respect to mob violence, how many deaths, what is the correct corridor, etc. So in the next part, you will discuss about these things, then you will discuss about mob violence also. That when we are talking about mob violence, here law is getting replaced with vigilantism. People are taking law in their hands. Standard operating procedures are not followed. Any person without proper trial, proper chance to represent himself, it's just killed by the mob. And sometimes that person is not even the culprit. We do not want a country like this, right? Now, but we have to maintain Article 21 also, life and liberty, which we will discuss in the next dimension. So here, in 3 parts, we will discuss why stringent laws are needed for terrorism, Naxalism, and mob violence. Now, person whose writing skills is not good, what he will do is, under common heading, need for stringent laws, he'll write about everything. And imagine your essay, which is very clear-cutly demarcated into terrorism, then Naxalism, then mob violence. First of all, you will elaborate much better than the other person. Secondly, examiners understand that you have a deep knowledge. That is a requirement. We did it in the first class. That they require deep knowledge about the topic which you are choosing. They require certain coherence in your essays, flow in your essays, systematic flow of thoughts. This shows systematic flow of thoughts. At first you write about one thing and then once it is finished, then you move on to other. So till now we have discussed about introduction of the essay, we have discussed about the historical background, then we have discussed about Article 21 in detail, includes Supreme Court judgment, then we talked about the need for stringent laws for terrorism, Naxalism and mob violence. Now our third part will be, what will be the third part? Why the balance is needed, right? Why balance needs to be there. How to maintain the balance will be the next dimension. First we will say that why this balance is required, because excessive laws leads to misuse, arbitrary action, right? Any normal citizen will be just picked up by the state just on the basis of suspicion, right? He will not be given bail. So excessive laws leads to misuse. Then you can write on history shows extraordinary powers if unchecked become instruments of injustice. Then you can write that security and liberty are complementary to each other. They are not separate from each other. Liberty is also required, security is also required. They complement each other. It's not separate from each other, that either you will have security or you will have liberty. Job of state is to have them together. They complement each other, right? Both of them are needed. Then you write down that democratic legitimacy comes through balancing both. That is why we require both of them. That is why we require a balance of both. Otherwise, there will be no democratic legitimacy. Then constitutional morality, rule of law. Or you can talk about that the balance is necessary because we have to follow the rule of constitutionalism. Constitutionalism means following what is given in the constitution. So when constitution gives rights, it also talks about reasonable restrictions. Not full restrictions, reasonable restrictions, some exceptions. So we have to follow constitutionalism. We have to follow rule of law. Rule of law is nobody is above law, not even the government. And we have to ensure accountability so that we can ask question that if you passed this act, why did you pass this act? What was the requirement? So we are looking for a balance because we are a country with a constitution. because we understand that liberty as well as your security, they have to be complementary to each other. We have to uphold the rule of law. And that is why this balance is necessary. Now, once this particular aspect is over, you will write down how to strike that balance. First, we talked about why balance is essential. There's a difference between these two aspects. Now, the point is measures to strike the balance. Again, I am repeating, this is a previous year question. This is not a random question we are doing it. If you understand from previous year question how to write it, you will definitely get good marks. Treat essay paper as something where you maximize your score. With 3 essays, your essays should be of such good quality that you get the highest score there. Because there you don't have to read any book. Straight away you have to just write essays. No book required at all. Right? Obviously, until unless any model answer key or essay type is there, you don't have any syllabus per se. So now here you will talk about what is the measure to strike the balance. What can be the other aspect now, other dimension? What is the challenge in maintaining that balance? Right? Antithesis part. So just before we discuss in detail, let's just take an overview. First we talk about Article 21. Then we talk about why there is a need to have stringent laws for terrorism, Naxalism, mob violence. Then we talk about why a balance is required. Then we talk about how to strike that balance. Then we talk about what is the challenge in striking that balance. And then we give a way forward. That now what next can be done. This is measures to strike balance. This way forward is with respect to this challenge which we will be discussing. And then you have a closing statement. Your essay is done. Now, if the examiner see this, where you have discussed all possible aspects, there's absolutely no chance that you will miss out on getting good marks here. But if you are discussing just this part, need for stringent laws, and just sticking to this part, discuss the measures to strike balance. So it means you have written an essay, it's not wrong, but very less dimensions. There might be certain people who will just focus on this only. Probably if it would have been a GS question, then it is fine. You focus on the measure part only. But this is an essay. Essay requires a 360-degree analysis. Everything possible about this question, each and every part of this question needs discussion. You need to elaborate it. You need to include examples. You need to include data. And then you will get good marks. There's absolutely no chance that after doing all these things, they're not giving you marks. Right? Yes, are we clear here? Because some people have a myth that I didn't start my essay well, probably that is why I didn't get marks, or I didn't write enough pages. Okay, enough pages at one point of time or intro is not that, but it is not having a very big impact. Big impact comes with dimensions, that you just wrote 2 dimensions or 1 dimension. You didn't discuss it in a complete manner. Then you lose on marks. Otherwise, it's not that difficult to score marks in essay. Right? Okay. So, this part, you'll write down the measures now. Measures to strike the balance. Right? So, you have a strong rule of law. You have clear, precise laws should be there. Proper safeguards should be there in the laws. Judicial oversight is very important. Judiciary needs to see if there is any violation of any of the law, or there is any kind of detention it is being given. Judiciary to see that it should be a time-bound review of detention happens. Speedy trials should happen. Right? Say for example, there are so many people who are booked under UAP and they are just lying in jails. There is no bail for them, and then after 10, 15, 20 years it is proven that they were innocent. 20 years that person's life, right to life and liberty was compromised. So if I have to strike a balance, also I cannot, ask him that okay, okay, you go to your home. I have to do a proper investigation also, but this investigation has to be time bound. I'm not saying you cannot try any Indian citizen on the suspicion that okay, he might be doing some terrorist activity or some related to Naxalism or whatever. But is it time bound? Because if it is time bound, then we are having a balance. That okay, 15 days of police remand or judicial remand. And in this 10-15 days, prepare the charge sheet. If you cannot prove it, then release the person. Now this is striking a balance. That his right to life and liberty is not compromised. Right? And there have been so many cases abroad. If any such case happened where you are jailed and you found that you were innocent, or you have been jailed beyond the time you were supposed to be there, people sue the local administration there and they win lot of money by suing the government itself. They come on a settlement that government was responsible. I was in jail for so many years, which is not there in India although. But when we're talking about striking a balance, we have to ensure speedy trials are there, fair procedure is there. Policing is accountable. Police is not picking up anybody and everybody. Right? Or the police is working on arbitrariness. That if they have enmity with some person or some community, they'll just pick that person on just suspicion. And then he just keeps on rotting in the jail. On the name that he was probably might be involved in terrorist activity. Right? So these things strike the balance. Then institutional accountability, Human Rights Commission, parliamentary questioning should be there. Right? Then root causes should be addressed. When we talk about terrorism, Naxalism, mob violence, or any social evil in the society, problem comes on lack of education, lack of jobs. Why do people become terrorists? If you have a proper job, right? And if somebody asks you that come let's go and bomb this building, will you go? No, you will not go. If you are unemployed, somebody will say okay, I will give you this amount of money. Are you okay with it? Or we will take care of your family, you become a suicide bomber. Person might agree. Person having a job, having education, it will be difficult to sway him in this direction. So we have to, if you want to strike a balance, address the root cause here. Right? Then transparency and data has to be collected. Right? Maintain data on arrests and detention. Lot of time FIR is not even filed. The person keeps on rotting in the jail. That compromises with the person's right to life and liberty on the excuse of that this person was caught on terrorist suspicion or Naxalism suspicions. Then protect the freedom of speech, privacy, prevent hate speech, and then citizenship partnership. Citizens should be made participant, right? Rather than targets of unnecessary arrests. So they can reject mob justice, they can promote constitutional values. So like this we can strike a balance between the two. Now next, what is the challenge in striking this balance? Political pressures. Sometimes it just becomes on the ego of the political party that we will not remove this person. Right? So political pressures, security agencies need swift action, safeguards require time. If you have a doubt that this person is carrying certain terrorist material or has been found with guns, security actions need to act swiftly. But if you want to safeguard his life and liberty, you need time. So that creates a challenge. Then misuse of law for political vendetta. That is one another challenge for balancing the two. The lack of police reforms, cross-border threats, social polarization, fake news, hate propaganda. This makes striking a balance between Article 21. Right? We need to have a balance between the two and preventing the acts of terrorism, Naxalism, mob violence. This balance becomes disoriented on one side. So, this becomes the challenge part, and then you give what needs to be done. Probably your police needs to have more capacity building, intelligence collection needs to be made more sophisticated, use of AI, right? Community policing can come in. So you write down about the way forward now, which completes each and every aspect. We are not leaving a single thing about particular topic. We discussed everything here. We discussed about Article 21, we discussed about all these events, we discussed about why the balance is needed, because the question is that measures to strike the balance. So before we tell the measures, we talked about why balance is essential. Then we gave the measures for balance. Then we gave the challenges in maintaining this balance. And then again we talked about way forward, and then we concluded it. Now the essay is complete. Right? Yes, are we clear here? Any doubt? Anyone is having any doubt? Please ask. Yes. Any doubt? Anyone? Can we proceed further? Okay, so this was one PYQ. Now you have two essays. It's your choice. If you are an online student, you can send me on Telegram. I've given you ID yesterday. You can send the PDF file of your essay. Even if you're an online student, if you're offline, I will encourage you to come and meet and show your essay. Even if you are doing brainstorming also, that also you can show me that I am thinking in this direction. So is this particular brainstorming right? So that you can write a full length essay after that. Are we clear here? Okay. So we'll just briefly see one more essay, because classroom availability is till 2 to 4 only. So we'll be having a class till 4 o'clock only. We have enough days, so we'll be able to cover nicely only, right? Okay. Write this topic. Do you want to do a previous year question or a new question? Previous year question, okay. Just 1 second. This is, it came last year only, and now, this has become a very important issue where South Indian state, they have achieved, the replacement value of total fertility rate, right? And even Chandrababu Naidu talks about it, how, children, encouraging more children. So this has come up last year. If not essay again, probably a GS question can come, but we'll see how to attempt this essay. Write down demographic shifts in South India. Demographic shifts in South India. Put a hyphen. Implications of population growth on political representation. Now the essay has already given you the boundary. It does not just want you to discuss about everything. It wants you to see that this demographic shift, how it is impacting this population growth on the political representation, right? Now, one topic is related to this only, which came again the same year. Demographic dividend or burden. Next question is demographic dividend or burden. Question mark. Rethinking the population explosion narrative. Rethinking the population explosion narrative. Now, one very important thing, if you read these two essays, they came in the same year. Now, in the exam, like I told, that there will be 3 sections. One very important takeaway from here is that if you read both the essays, it's about population related issues there, right? So whenever you're choosing essay in all 3 sections, always choose topics which are entirely different from each other. Say for example, if you do the South India part here, right, and you again do the population explosion part, demographic burden or dividend, lot of things will be overlapping. Not entirely, but lot of things will overlap with each other. So what will happen? Halfway through towards the second essay, you will feel you are writing the same things. And sometimes students then cut and start writing another topic. So one very important rule of choosing essay topics, because you have 3 choice here, 3 here, 3 here. All the topics which you will choose in these sections, they should be absolutely different from each other. Polar opposite topic. Choose one science topic, choose one political topic, choose one economic topic. Or even if you're choosing any topic from politics, it should be totally separate from each other. Right? So it's 4 o'clock. These 2 essays, today your job is just to do the brainstorming. Right? Go online, search for data also. I'm okay with it. Right? Search online, you see about the demographic dividend, demographic burden, population explosion narrative, demographic shift in your South India, what is its impact on political representation. I'm okay with you going online. But before that, do your brainstorming and then go online. Then tomorrow, in the same manner, we'll discuss that how do we proceed with these previous year questions. Right? And then we will do one new topic also, right? If you start doing only PYQs also, then you will not have knowledge about other things also. Because now once it has come next year, repetition of the same topic, there is a less chance. But attempting PYQs will help you to understand the mindset of the examiner. That how do I proceed further, right? So we will continue tomorrow. Sunday also you have a class. So Saturday, Sunday there will be a class. Same time will be there, 2 to 4. Thank you.